Well, for your project, your first quarter project, you're going to be doing what I call the Reformational Imitation Project. And I call it reformational because the time period we're looking at, 17th and 18th centuries, it's after the Great Reformation, but it's kind of showing the rippling effects of the Reformation in terms of culture. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be choosing to imitate a master from this time period. And there are four ways in which you can imitate. First of all, you could choose a master artist, particularly a painter. And you could either choose to try to reproduce that painting in some kind of medium of your choice. You could even try to do your own painting. Or you could reproduce perhaps a series of their sketches. In fact, one of the great things about learning from master artists is when you learn to draw like they drew by studying their sketches and things like that. But we're going to limit ourselves to 17th and 18th centuries, so 1600s and 1700s. So you can do characters such as Vermeer, for example, one of the characters we're studying this first quarter, or Caravaggio, the great Italian artist, or perhaps even Copley, the great English artist. The second way in which you can do this reformational imitation is to take the score from a master composer, such as Bach, or Haydn, or Beethoven, for example, and then reproduce that by hand. You'd either use some kind of printed score, or you might find it interesting to go back and find the original manuscript that the composer actually wrote. But the whole idea is to be able to see how they actually thought in terms of music and to actually replicate that. And yet a third thing that you could do for this reformational imitation is to take a poem from one of the great writers that we're looking at, or that is in this time period. This is John Milton, or William Blake, or Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Take a great poem, copy that by hand in beautiful penmanship or calligraphy, and then illuminate it. Add a border to it, add perhaps a illuminated letter in the style of the old medieval illumination, something like that. Finally, the fourth option for this project is to take an invention or a machine or device made by one of the great people we're going to look at this first quarter, such as Blaise Pascal or Isaac Newton or Robert Boyle or another member of the Royal Society, or perhaps some of the later inventors like John Deere, for example, and try to recreate their device or their invention, either at the same scale and size that they did theirs, or if theirs was really big, you can make a smaller version of it. But in all of these, you want to go for accuracy. You want to try to faithfully recreate the original to the best of your ability. In fact, that's one of the things to be graded on, is how well did you actually pay attention to the original design, and how well did you actually faithfully and accurately recreate it. Another thing that you'll probably be graded on will be the craftsmanship. Did you actually put some work into this? Did you actually pay attention to detail? Did you actually use the correct materials? Did you take time on this? Or was this thing rushed? That's one of the things we're looking for. As well as the following of instructions. You can find further details in your course materials. And hopefully you'll have a chance to present these as well. I like to have my students present their projects, talk about them, talk about why they chose them, kind of walk through that and so forth. And that's usually something you can be graded on as well. In fact, when I have my students present things, I grade them on things like, can we hear you? Can we understand you? Are you making eye contact with the audience? Are you standing up straight? Things like that, as well as the content of their speech. Anyway, that's your first project.